Let's talk about this, though. I think this is an interesting conversation that goes into this now because the division is going to be a very tough division this year. We've talked about that ad nauseum at this point, and I think one of the spots where you look at it being incredibly difficult, and some people may say, well, I think that we're just going to hit the ground running yet again. There's a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks in this division. I look at Jared Goff, and I think the pressure on him is, hey, are you really this guy without Ben Johnson? I think you look at Caleb Williams. We know all the pressure on him. The Bears have given you everything that you can ask for. If you're a second-year quarterback, you got to go out there and perform. J.J. McCarthy replacing a quarterback that just had a 14-3 season, that's a tough thing to turn your back on. And Jordan Love, $55 million. And to be real, he's kind of a mid-sandwich last year. He wasn't exactly the elite quarterback that you're looking for. Only one win versus the division as well, Jack. When you look at the quarterback rooms around the NFC North, where are you looking at the pressure? Where do you feel like there's the most pressure in this NFC North right now?
I don't think it's on Caleb because I think Caleb gets a lot of runway still because this is just his second year. It's a new offense once again. Now, there should be some pressure. He has a good receiving core. The offensive line was built up for him. Most of the resources this offseason went into building that offense back up, right? So I think Caleb has pressure. I don't think it's the most pressure. I don't think it's on J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy is essentially in his rookie season. Yep. And the Vikings are seen as a team that overperformed last season. If J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings take a step back, people aren't going to say, oh, J.J. McCarthy, he needs to be out already. He also has some runway, too. The person I'm looking at with the most pressure, and I believe he has a little bit of runway, but maybe less than the other guys, is Jared Goff. He had a phenomenal season last season, was a great quarterback, above average, maybe even cracking that top 10 last year, right? But he now loses his offensive coordinator that was kind of the catalyst in his resurgence once he came to Detroit. There's been brain drain in that offense. It's a team that is in its championship window right now. This is the time that the Detroit Lions need to go win, and they are in their championship window. He already has his big contract. So people are going to say, Jared Goff, you got paid from the Detroit Lions. Now it's time to go and perform for the Detroit Lions. For me, if Detroit takes a massive step back this year with the brain drain, it's going to kind of symbolize maybe that championship window isn't as wide open as we thought it was. Yeah. And a lot of that's going to come down to Jared Goff. We are going to find out this year, was he built up by Ben Johnson's system, or is he truly on the cusp of being an elite quarterback in the National Football League? And if he takes a step back, we can say it was more Ben Johnson than it was Jared Goff. He has leeway because he has that massive contract. He's going to be in Detroit for at least 2 more years, barring something miraculous or barring something major. But right now, I would say for him, he has the most pressure. I don't think it's Jordan Love because the Packers seem to love Jordan Love, not to put a play on words there, but he seems to get a lot of leeway. And for some reason, the national narrative has been that the Packers receiving core isn't that good when really it's not bad. They have good receivers there. They have receivers who can go up and get the ball. They just drafted another receiver in round 1. Yep. But I feel like the weapons are going to get more of the blame than Jordan Love if he doesn't perform this season.
I do wonder if that runway is kind of starting to run out now. Where I do think it is very valid is Christian Watson will not stay healthy. Like, I don't know what to say. With him as your number 1 receiver, you're in a tough spot. With the addition of Matthew Golden, I think the question mark is going to be more around, was it right to take Matthew Golden over somebody who the Bears end up grabbing and Luther Burden, who I thought maybe had a little bit better tape, even though last season the numbers came back down to earth. But if you feel good about Matthew Golden being the big receiver for you there, I think there's something to be said there. The only pushback I would have on you with the Jared Goff having the most amount of pressure is, does he not get a ton of leeway from the fact that you just had your starting center retire? Kevin Zeitler is no longer going to be there. And you're probably going to bat with Tate Ratledge as your starting center, if we're being honest, who was just drafted, rookie guard, who doesn't have a ton of center play in his college career. So, like, I do wonder if when you look at Goff, if you're going to look at this season and go, well, we kind of understand why the offense took a step back. You lost your OC, you lost your starting center. Like at a certain point, the pieces do matter that are around you.
No, I would agree with that. I still think he has good pieces around him. I don't think the offensive line is going to be bottom half of the league this year. I still think it'll be solid. Now, losing the center is big, as you said. I think for Goff, though, it's more of a legacy conversation than anything because suddenly Jared Goff goes from having this massive resurgence to being viewed as a top tier quarterback in this league, potentially top tier quarterback. I mean, he's not on Mahomes or Herbert or even Burrow or Herbert levels, but he's kind of in that next tier almost. And if he takes a step back, he's going to drop a couple tiers here because everybody's going to look at the Ben Johnson effect. How much was it Ben Johnson versus how much was it actually Jared Goff? So then I agree with you. With the Love conversation too, I think you do make an interesting point about the receivers and Love a little bit. In Jordan Love's contract, it's a massive dead cap. But there also is a potential out in 2027 for the Packers. They'd have to take on $51 million in dead cap. So I don't think they'd consider doing that even 2 years down the road. But if Jordan Love is horrible this year, which I don't think he'll be horrible, he'll probably be like average as he's been the past couple of years. But if he's horrible next year, the Packers might start some conversations of, all right, is he really our quarterback of the future that we're going to be paying this massive money to? I think he will be. I think he has that leeway. He just signed his contract. He's going to have a lot of runway. Jared Goff has that runway too, but because of Jared Goff's age and the window of the Detroit Lions, I think the window is going to close a little bit sooner on that Lions team than it will on this Packers team. And because of that, I think Goff has more pressure.
We'll see. We'll see. I think for me, when I look at this, I know we're going to give Caleb the leeway, especially here in Chicago, but it's tough for me not to be Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. I mean, literally at every turn. We talked about last season being one of the better situations for a rookie quarterback to come into, and then I got a chance to look at the offensive line in training camp, and I was like, well, we better sign somebody. Ryan, you going to sign anybody? You're going to sign nobody. Okay, here we go. Let's go into the season, see what this is. And, of course, Caleb Williams, 68 sacks later, we're sitting there going, well, I can kind of see how that happened based on the fact that you signed Ryan Bates as the best offensive lineman that you had. That's not the situation this season. You went out and got one of the best guards, not only in football, but who has also been with 2 of the best quarterbacks of all time in Tom Brady and with Patrick Mahomes. I think that the conversation on that alone is, hey, you've upped the leadership in that room, and you went out and you got the number 1 center that was on the market this year, and you went out and you added Jonah Jackson, who was a little bit of a surprise, but listen, is a solid piece who has been in Ben Johnson's system. Like there's so much that's been added. Colston Loveland is a guy who I think everyone was expecting Tyler Warren to be the pick until you saw Colston Loveland start running routes. So you go, oh, what's Ben Johnson going to do with this guy on top of all the weapons that are here? How can you not look at Caleb Williams and say, listen, like if this doesn't work, it might not be us. It might be you, because for the first time in NFL history, the Bears have given a quarterback everything he needs to succeed.
Yes, but I will say last season, Caleb Williams was not bad, right? No. And you've said this before too. His touchdown to interception ratio was really good last year.
Yep.
His passing yardage was better than any Bears rookie quarterback in history. Like, he gets that leeway. All next year has to be is better than last season, and it will be categorized as a good season. Yep. He needs to take a step up, but the step up doesn't need to be massive. 3,500 yards to 4,000 yards, yeah, it's a pretty good step up. But if he throws for 3,900 yards, people are going to be happy about that too.
Yeah.
So, yes, but I think there's going to be some leeway. The pressure on Caleb Williams is if he's worse than last year, there's some big issues. I don't think he's going to be worse than last year. It would amaze me if he's worse than last year. So for that reason, yes. The pressure is if he's worse than last year, yeah. And no matter what, Caleb Williams, Sorry, go ahead, Pat.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say if you get a couple of timeouts in there, I've said this multiple times. Like we have a completely different perception on Caleb Williams. You don't give up 15 yards like every DC in the NFL outside of Matt Eberflus would have done in that situation. You're talking about Caleb Williams leading a comeback drive. Like there's all of these moments that we look at, and I think that you do look at him and say, good rookie season that end up being bad because of outstanding circumstances.
Yeah, and he had multiple throws where we're like, all right, this guy's got a little bit of a clutch gene in him, where he made a big play at the end of games, right? And that's one of the most important things to have for a quarterback at this level. So, yes, I think he has the qualities to where he's going to step up this season. And no matter what happens, Caleb Williams is getting a third year. He's getting another opportunity. No matter what happens, he's probably getting a fourth year too. So the leash is not short on Caleb Williams. Even if he has a very bad year this year, most likely, like 99%, Caleb Williams is also going to be the Bears quarterback in 2026, no matter what this season looks like, right? Yeah. Unless something atrocious is put on display. But that's not going to happen for Caleb Williams, not with this coaching staff. So because of that, I would say he's got the pressure is kind of not off this season, but a little lessened because you're at least going to get another opportunity. And to be honest, that's true for every single quarterback in this division. In 2026, the quarterback rooms the starting quarterbacks are all going to be the same in the NFC North.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Are we viewing pressure as this guy could be replaced, or are we viewing pressure as the narrative around this guy is going to be overwhelmingly loud, that it's going to be very difficult for you to overcome that without coming out and being a god? I think that's where I'm looking at this and I'm saying Caleb is under the pressure, because we know what happens when you're the number one overall pick in any circumstance except Jacksonville. I don't know how Trevor Lawrence has escaped this conversation. People talk about Justin Fields like he was the number one pick.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, $55 million. He sucks.
Like they had like one playoff appearance though, right? I feel like he's been able to throw that one in the back pocket or the one good season in Jacksonville and say, hey, we show we can do it.
You mean that game where he came back from his 4 interceptions in the first half? Like
what a horrible quarterback class. What was that? Fields, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence,
Trey Lance?
Ugly quarterback.
Is that Trey Lance?
Oh, no.
Is it Trey Lance finishing that out? It is. It's not panned out how we thought it was. But I think the conversation around the pressure being, that somebody's going to lose their job in this situation, I don't think that's what we're talking about. But I think the conversation is more, are you adding something to your game? Or are you building on what you've already done here versus the flip side of this, where maybe it is a step back, maybe it is a slow process, maybe it takes you time to get up to speed, and you're halfway into the season and the national media is looking at you and going, look, like, this guy's not it. This guy sucks. Like he's not the answer that you're looking for.
That's fair. And that's going to be the narrative on Caleb. Out of all these quarterbacks, Caleb's going to get the most national attention. It won't be Love. We kind of already know what Jordan Love is. Like he could take a step up, but generally he's going to be your home run hitter. He'll throw the deep ball. He's going to throw a lot of interceptions. He's got the strong arm. We know what Jordan Love kind of is. With Goff, we know what Goff is. There's questions of, is he at that next level? And that's why I kind of came in saying, and you're kind of changing my mind here a little bit, Pat. You're doing a good job of this one with the Caleb Williams argument, because I agree with you. The national media is going to be most focused on Caleb Williams this season. Out of all those quarterbacks, it's going to be Jared Goff. It's going to be Caleb Williams. JJ is going to get a little bit of talk, but the Vikings are a weird case because they overperformed so much last season, and nobody thought they were going to be that good, but they were that good. So the question is, what are your expectations for the Vikings this season? I think they're probably a playoff team, but would I be surprised if they regress to the mean this season and wind up like 7-10 or something like that? No, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know what to make of the Vikings because they were so good. My expectation would be that they make the playoffs, but nothing would surprise me with that team, if that makes sense.
I get you. The Vikings are an interesting up and down team. I think you have to give the rookie quarterback leeway. A lot of us, we're at a point in the NFL, and especially covering the NFL, where if a coach makes a decision, we look at it and say, well, he must know what he's doing. He must be the smartest dude in the room. And Kevin O'Connell fits that bill quite a bit. That you shouldn't be taking steps back. But I think the conversation we're not having about this division as a whole is I expect everyone to take a step back except for the Bears. And the only reason I say except for the Bears, not home bias, is because you took such a step up and just common sense in the building. You shouldn't have been as far back as you were last season. The Bears should have been a 7 to 8 win team just off a couple of these and common sense that normal football people do. And Matt Eberflus decided not to do when the pressure got too high. I don't think you're going to have that issue with Ben Johnson. So to me, common sense gets the Bears into an 8 to 9 win conversation, which I think is great versus this schedule. When I look at the rest of the NFC North, I think they regress to the mean because when you look at the numbers versus the NFC South last year, Jack, that the NFC North put up, I mean, it was a bludgeoning of the AFC South last year. And I think that's how you get the Lions to 15 wins. That's how you get the Vikings to 14 wins. That's how you get the Packers to their 9 wins that they had last season, because you start to see, okay, well, you almost got 3 to 4 games given to you if you took advantage of them. The Packers didn't win a single game in the division outside of one blocked field goal versus the Bears, and they still came away with 9 wins. I think the schedule that the teams are going to play this year is going to make a big difference in a lot of these teams regressing to the mean.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold looked like a completely different person last season than what he did the years before. Will JJ McCarthy get that same boost from that offense that Sam Darnold got from his previous stops, right? And so that's going to be the big question is, can JJ McCarthy elevate his play from the expectation we already have of him, which is kind of a game manager quarterback who might have some potential in that arm? Can he take that next step this year, or the first step this year, because it's going to be his first year at the helm of that team, and turn into that top 15 quarterback? That's going to be the pressure on JJ McCarthy. I agree with you with the Packers. I think they take a step back, and then there's the brain drain in Detroit. On JJ McCarthy and the Vikings, though, and taking a step back, the pressure on Caleb Williams, though, starts immediately. Back to the conversation about who's got the most pressure, because Monday Night Football, you get JJ McCarthy versus Caleb Williams in week 1. And if Caleb Williams gets outperformed by JJ McCarthy in that game, he is going to get absolutely crushed by the national media. It's just what's going to happen, because everybody's going to expect Caleb Williams and a new offense to go out there and dominate a Vikings defense that is primed for regression this season, because they played above what they should have last season, and people are going to be expecting that this is finally the time that the Bears offense takes a turn. That's going to be the storyline that you hear going up until this game. JJ McCarthy is going to be in his first game ever. The storyline is going to be, can JJ McCarthy, coming off his injury, live up to the expectations? And if JJ McCarthy outperforms Caleb Williams in his first game ever, there's gonna be a lot of heat on Caleb Williams.
Well, I mean, you look at this is almost like the period point of last season, right? Like, you look at last season, the quarterback you could have taken versus the quarterback you didn't. Week 2 is CJ Stroud. Bears lose. I mean, the Colts game is, I wouldn't say anybody wanted Anthony Richardson. I think we're going to be fine with that. Caleb Williams goes out and dominates the Panthers, which is kind of okay, here we go. That's a good win versus the other guy you could have taken. Commanders game, you lose to your counterpart. Patriots game, you don't even show up versus your counterpart. Now, this is the other guy that was taken in that draft. He didn't get a chance to play last season versus you, but the other guy that was taken in that draft, who people were talking about, could that be somebody that the Bears look at because of he was in a pro style already? He may be the guy that gets to hit the ground a little bit quicker. I don't think anybody actually thought the Bears were going to take JJ McCarthy over Caleb Williams, but that's the other quarterback. If you lose to him, you're 1-4 versus the guys that you thought you would be better off with Caleb Williams with. That conversation gets real loud real quick.
100%. There's really no doubt about it. And it all comes down to how those two perform. Now, if JJ McCarthy goes out and hands off the ball 35 times in that game, he very well might, because they have good running backs and a decent line in Minnesota. And Caleb Williams goes out and throws for 350 yards, and for some reason the Bears still lose the game. We'll have a different conversation about it. But if you get outperformed, not even just lose the game, if you get outperformed by JJ McCarthy in that game, that's where some of the questions are going to start already in week 1. Now, if Caleb Williams goes in, he puts up 35 points with that offense and throws for 300 yards against the Vikings, or even 250 yards against the Vikings with a touchdown pass or two. Well, guess what? The narrative for Caleb Williams immediately starts on the positive, and it takes a weight off your shoulders. That week one is a huge game. And week one is always a big game. But this year, feels even a little bit bigger than last year, right? Because last year you had the Titans in week one. Your defense was able to win you that game. It was a noon game on a Sunday. Like, yeah, the pressure's on, but it's not under the bright lights. No, this is all the pressure is on this game now in week one. Immediately, the national spotlight is turned to Caleb Williams versus J.J. McCarthy as the matchup in a primetime solo game.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the strength of this team that they were hanging their hats on last season, all until probably the last 3 weeks of the season. It's the defense. It's Brian Flores, the king of the zero blitz, and
gonna be a good defense.
Like it's a dominant defense that really can get after you, and they really got after Caleb Williams in the second game of that season. I think we lost 34-10 in the second game of that season. So you have to go out there and prove that I can take advantage of this defense and prove that I can be better than the other guy in that draft in J.J. McCarthy. And hopefully we'll see that in week one, prime time, under the lights. I'm so excited for the season to get started. I have a tough time, Jack, because like when we get to this point in the season, I'm like, all right, I could, OTAs are here. Cool. I like it. I'm a football fan, so I'm going to enjoy it. I'm a football junkie, so I'm a little upset that I missed today. To see Caleb Williams throw over guys that probably aren't going to be on the roster. But
he's not throwing over them.
But there is that part where you're like, I'm so ready for football season to be here, but I am not ready for summer not to be here.
No, I mean, it's like it would be great if we lived in Florida or something, or if it was summer year round, if we had weather like that. But the weather finally, it just feels like warmed up for good. So I'm with you. It was feeling like football weather last week, and I'm like, all right, can we turn on the college football game on? It was a Saturday. I'm like, well, can we turn on the college football game and get ready for some action?
Well,
but no, I'm good with the weather right now. Let's wait this out. Let's enjoy OTAs, and then let's get to week one. Because once week one starts, I mean, as we said, all the pressure's on, and all the conversation's going to be about the Bears and Caleb Williams.
Listen, if you heard Cap yesterday, you can always turn on ESPNU and watch a good college football game randomly. That is a middle of the season game, not even championship, just the middle of the season.
I didn't hear that. Was he ripping on that?
He was raging yesterday because I think there was I want to say it was like a Florida Atlantic. I can't even think of who the other team was, but it was like a Florida Atlantic Baylor baseball game, college baseball game, middle of the day. And I'm like, what are they supposed to have on ESPNU right now? Like, there's nothing to watch. He's like, put on a championship game.
Watch some baseball.
I thought it was good. I tapped in. I enjoyed it. I like hearing sports in the background, but whatever I can get, I'll take. Let's keep it warm though for a little while at least.
Yeah.
Jack, we appreciate you coming on the show as always. We appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love as well. Make sure to tap in with us in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Who do you think has the most pressure on them heading into this season? Do you feel like it's Caleb Williams, or do you feel like maybe one of these other quarterbacks are taking all that pressure? We'll talk about that with you in the comments as well. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. We will be back Thursday, I believe, for the next episode because we got Grip It and Sip It tomorrow, the golf outing. So you going to be golfing tomorrow, Jack? A little golf action for you?
I'm not, but I will be on site for the show, so I will be there at Seven Bridges. I'm pumped for it.
We will pull up with Jack McGrath at Seven Bridges. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.